Ravens Wrap is brought to you by Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
And welcome in to another installment of the Ravens Wrap Show here on Comcast Peach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio, the strongest signal Ravens affiliate on the Eastern Shore, 93.5 The Beach. We are broadcasting from the Ravens Room here at the Blue Ox, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City. Ravens Roost 44 with us. Give yourselves a hand, guys. The diehard of the diehard here tonight on a little bit different day as we're taping. We want to wish everybody a great Thanksgiving holiday. Hey, we want to thank our sponsors, of course, the original Green Turtle, the Blue Ox Bar and Grill, our friends at Bud Light, FlyLady.net, the Ocean City Golf Club, G&G Outfitters, Ravens247.com, the Comfort Inn Gold Coast, and JCTickets.net. All right, it's week number 12 of the NFL, week number 11 for your now 7-3 AFC North division leading Baltimore Ravens. Coming up, we're going to recap the 31-24 victory over the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll also give our grades, talk news and notes with our insider, and we'll recap the AFC North, what happened with some of the other teams, and preview the upcoming game against the San Francisco 49ers. I'm Mike Bradley, formerly of B101.7, now 105.7 The Fan of Baltimore. To my left, I think I've got this finally after maybe a month. Six-time Parkville League champ, 51 consecutive games?
51.
51 consecutive games. Also editor-in-chief on the side of Ravens247.com, back from the dead, from sick the last couple weeks. Tony Lombardi. Somewhat.
You did that well. I'm proud of you. Don't forget that.
There you go. To his
I feel a lot better now.
Good. Well, it's good to have you back. Former Lehigh College player, OC local, and businessman John Gehrig. Welcome back. Making it happen to this year. It's good to see you. Yeah, last year was like, incognito, but you're back. You're back with us.
Lehigh beat Lafayette.
I saw that. Yeah.
Lehigh gets a first round bye in the playoffs. Going to Towson. So go check out what are they? The Cougars, Tigers, Pussycats. Get stomped by the engineers. They're still the Engineers to me. So we're going to truck over those Tigers.
Yeah, a little bit of rivalry week.
December 3rd at Towson at Johnny U Stadium.
Are you going?
I'm thinking about it.
There you go. Well, a little bit of rivalry week this week. Of course, got some big Thanksgiving games. I'll get into that a little bit later. Of course, my alma mater's got a big game coming up Thursday. But guys, obviously a huge win for the Ravens. I mean, this is a game that now puts them in first place in the division. They have the tiebreaker with Pittsburgh. It's a Cincinnati team that we didn't really know a whole lot about. I mean, we saw that they played pretty well against Pittsburgh the week before, but taking a look at the schedule last week, I know Papo had pointed out that, who have they really beaten quality-wise? And obviously you can only play who's on your schedule, but still not a whole lot of quality wins there. This team's for real. But, Tony, I'm going to start with you here. There's been this whole thing the last couple of years, and you had an article on your website, Joe Flacco struggles against the cover 2 defense, especially Cincinnati Bengals. As the article pointed out, it's kind of a myth. He's got now a 22-13 record against 4-3 defenses. I argued from the start the difference in this game was that A, Leon Hall and Jonathan Joseph aren't there, and B, we finally have guys that can vertically stretch the field and take those safeties and occupy them and maybe get by them, and that's exactly what happened. You can talk about Ray Rice getting the ball all you want, but I thought Torrey Smith's production in that game was the real difference.
Yeah, in the past when you've played the Cincinnati Bengals, what you've seen is they did a lot of 4-3, cover 2, as you pointed out, Mike. And the thing that the Bengals have always done well against the Ravens is they've gotten after the quarterback pretty well with just the 4-down linemen. I thought the offensive line did a nice job against the Bengals on Sunday, and I think that helped a lot because Joe Flacco had a lot of time to hit those vertical targets. And you're right, Mike. The Leon Hall not being there, big miss. I think that miss is a bigger miss than Ray Lewis not being with the Ravens yesterday. And I also think that with Jonathan Joseph, Leon Hall's equal, perhaps even better.
Right.
Those two guys are shut down, and you can see the difference between the Cincinnati Bengals and what Torrey Smith did on that one post when Joe Flacco rolled out to his right. I mean, he's not supposed to be that wide open, and he was.
Yeah. Lee Evans played sparingly as they're trying to get him back up to, full health. I don't think he's going to play a whole lot this Thursday, but we'll talk about that. John, it's been a roller coaster ride with Joe Flacco, but he came back up after a down game against Seattle. He looked very solid, especially in the deep ball.
Yeah, in the first quarter he struggled. I mean, he comes out and the first drive was 2-run plays, 3rd and 2, and he completely threw that ball behind Ray Rice, and we're thinking, here we go again. And you're right. I mean, he bounced back. That's one thing about Joe is he will bounce back at any given moment, and then he'll regress again at any given moment. And speed kills. I mean, you're right. When they established a run game, Ray Rice got his touches, and then when you can run by these guys. and he just throws that. Joe just throws a nice, deep, catchable ball sometimes, and he was on target. Torrey Smith I tell you what, Torrey Smith, it's too bad we didn't see A.J. Green, because really those two guys coming out, those are the two best wide receivers coming out of this rookie class. Actually, I can't say too bad we didn't see him. I'm glad we didn't see him on the other side. But Torrey Smith really coming into his own here.
Yeah, I was going to say the first couple of series for the Ravens, it was ugly, and we're thinking, boy, he's just parlaying. The offense as a whole is parlaying a poor effort against Seattle into the first half against Cincinnati. The one play where Joe's sticking out the ball to give to Ray Rice in a running play and ends up hitting his fullback Vontae Leach. And it was ugly from the beginning, but all of a sudden Joe gets on track. I think 10 or 11 straight completions at one point. We only had 30 seconds, but it's just good to see in an important game at home that the offense came to play.
Yeah, they came to play and they adjusted well, and I thought, Cam Cameron, a guy who's been heavily criticized, really came out with a good game plan yesterday.
Yeah, it's almost the same thing sometimes with Cam. It seems like just like with the offense, it's a roller coaster ride with the game plans, but he had a good one. We're going to get in a lot more about this game. 31-24, the Ravens win over Cincinnati. They lead the AFC North. We'll talk a whole lot more about it coming up. It is the Ravens Wrap Show, Comcast Beach TV, and Delmarva's Rock Radio, 93.5 The Beach. We'll be back.
All right.
Are you embarrassed to invite people to your home to watch your favorite football team? Well, don't worry, because you're not alone. FlyLady.net is the support you need. Join us and our more than 600,000 members and learn how to crush the clutter and game plan your way through routines that'll help you organize your home and your life. Tackle clutter and get your home game day ready with FlyLady.net.
G&G Outfitters, Inc. is a premier full-service in-house provider of branded merchandise and marketing solutions. With over 20 years of proven experience, G&G continues to successfully produce branded merchandise for some of the world's leading corporations, associations, and teams. From start to finish, G&G Outfitters is your single-source, one-stop partner for promotional products, logoed apparel, and all of your branded needs. For more info on the services and capabilities of G&G, visit ggoutfitters.com or call 301-731-2282.
In April 1959, Art Wall won the Masters, edging out Carey Middlecoff and Arnold Palmer by finishing birdie, 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 par birdie. 1 month later, Ocean City Golf Club celebrated the opening of their first 18 holes. That course has been transformed now into one of the most scenic golf layouts on the East Coast. Come experience 36 of the most beautiful and challenging holes you'll find anywhere. Ocean City Golf Club in Ocean City, Maryland.
What's going on?
We're giving Matt the NFL experience of a high-pressure field goal.
Look out! It's terrible, man!
There's an easier way to get an ultimate NFL fan experience. Just snap the tag wherever Bud Light is sold and you can win. Bud Light in the NFL. Here we go.
Hey, it gets easier. Really? No.
It's the Ravens Wrap Show here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio 93.5 The Beach. The Ravens 31-24 winners over the Cincinnati Bengals. And guys, last week, Bruce Laird, who's off today, brought in an orange juice carton that he had found at the table after the game last week, and Ray Rice apparently had gone missing. I'm happy to report that he was found alive and well at M&T Bank Stadium on Sunday against the Bengals. He definitely got the ball in this one. Taking a look at the stats for him, 20 rushes, 104 yards, 5.2 average in this one. Also, he had 5 catches for 43 yards, 10 targets. So in total, the Ravens tried to get him the ball 30 times. They were successful in 25 of those 30. So, I mean, look, there's no question that getting him involved, he's one of your top playmakers. That's big. And Cam was able to, get the message and get him the ball.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where you have to be patient with the running game because, the Ravens do a lot of zone blocking. I think about 60-65% of their blocking schemes are zone blocking. And sometimes there's big plays off the back end of that, but you have to keep going at it, be patient with it. And I don't think that they were when they played Seattle Seahawks. They were patient yesterday because there was a bunch of runs that went for 1 and 2 yards. But every now and then, that seam opens up and you can bust a big one like he did yesterday, a couple of them. And he had one called back on, I thought, a questionable penalty against Torrey Smith.
Right.
So
he went below the knees on that one. I don't think he's allowed to do that. But I thought there was another play where it was questionable. I don't know if it was on.
Well, it was like a 26-yard run that was called back, I think.
Yeah.
So when you look at those kinds of things, and they're patient with it, they stay with it, John. I think you're going to get rewards when you keep giving the ball to a Ray Rice.
When you stick with the running game. And Tony, it's like playing with fundamentals. We're talking about protecting the quarterback, sticking with the running game, just being persistent with it if it's being shut down. The defense starts to play for the run. And when you can protect the quarterback, that allows Joe then to really sell the play fakes without having to snap out of that too quickly because he's worried about pressure. So he's able to really sell the fake. The defense is assuming the run, and that's when you get a wide receiver running by two safeties and a passing touchdown. So everything kind of works together when you have a full game plan being executed, and the guys did a great job. It really felt that the whole game, it just offensively had a great feel to it after the first couple drives.
Well, and Tony, you talked about the running game. I thought coming in that it was going to be extremely difficult to run the football because the Bengals, I think, were number 2 or 3 against the rush. And yet, and I thought maybe, and I know fans didn't want to hear this, I thought, well, the pass may have to set up the run again in this one. I know coming off that Seattle loss, that's the last thing I wanted to hear about, more passing than running. But I'll hand it to the Ravens. I mean, they at times, you're right, they chipped away. It wasn't always 5 yards a carry, but they chipped away enough. And they did a lot more damage against that Cincinnati defense in the run game than I thought they could do.
Yeah, I think it's all about balance. I think if you look at the number of plays they had, I think it was almost right down the middle.
Yeah, 28 rushes, 27 passes.
Yeah, that's pretty balanced.
Yep.
So when you do those kinds of things, you keep the defense off guard, and they got to slow down a little bit, and they can't react and jump on the off the snap as quickly as they might like to. And I think the results are there. So when you have that play action going on, and Joe Flacco is able to get the ball downfield, and he was dropping dimes yesterday too in some cases.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Look, I'm one of the biggest Joe Flacco critics, but
no, you're not.
The only thing I want to criticize about him this week is what he said in the paper. All right, so he just says, "I'm trying to tell everyone you got to throw the ball to move the ball." So I think he threw the ball, moved the ball because we were also running the ball.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So. It does go hand in hand, and again, like I said, I'll go back to the fact that this year with the Ravens, you can say all you want about Joe and struggling against cover 2 defenses and the offense in general, but they finally now have the vertical weapons, and Lee Evans is back. Once he gets 100%, I think he was maybe 75% in that one. I think that they'll be a lot more explosive. The other thing it does, guys, is it puts Anquan Bolden back in the slot. I think largely he's been playing out of position this year. He shouldn't be that other outside receiver. He should be in the slot working underneath. Against second and third corners, that's his strength.
That's a great point because he works underneath routes a lot better, and you saw that in that Steeler game when they moved him off the end,
on
they
that
moved
drive
him
at
in
the
the slot,
end. Yep.
and they had William Gay on him because a lot of these corners they get used to using that sideline as part of their defensive mechanism and their scheming. So if you get them out of their comfort zone, then they're less effective. But if you leave them on that edge and you can take on a guy like a William Gay in the Steelers game, that's something that Anquan Bolden can really put to good use. And I think having Lee Evans back allows him to do exactly that.
John, Tony brought it up, and I completely agree. We talked last week about the fact that the Cincinnati defensive line, I think 85% of their sacks had come from just the 4-down linemen, some of whom were backups as well. Excellent job by the offensive line and pass pro. Joe did a good job stepping up as well, moving around. But, hey, that might have been, outside of week 1 against Pittsburgh, the best game they had in pass protection.
Really was, and there's no surprise that we're able to execute on offense, score a lot of points against a good defense that we've traditionally struggled against. There's no surprise that when you execute in the protection and on the offensive line, that you're going to have success. And offensively, it just felt right. My note sheet for preparing for this show, I just, after the first quarter, I balled it up and it was just let the game kind of happen. Joe was on the game, and everybody executed offensively for his last 3 quarters.
And when you look back at those last 3 games, their offensive line, what happened 3 games ago for their offensive line? Ben Grubbs came back.
Yep.
And since that time, they've really pass pro'd well, and their running game is getting a little bit better too.
It's amazing too in this game, about 15 seconds. Anquan Bolden, just 1 catch in this game. He was targeted 3 times. He had a touchdown. Ed Dixon, just 2 catches. Dennis Pitta, no catches at all. Hey, we've got lots more to get to. We'll wrap up the offense, talk some defense as well. Ravens win 31-24. More of the Ravens Wrap Show next on Comcast Beach TV.
Ravens Wrap is brought to you by Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill. Ravens Wrap is brought to you by Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
And welcome back in.
Wait a minute. That's all you could do? Come on. We're in first place.
And welcome back in. It is the Ravens Wrap Show here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio 93.5 The Beach. From the Ravens Room here at the Blue Ox, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City. Ravens Roost 44. Give yourselves a hand. The Ravens are first AFC North leading. Baltimore Ravens 7-3. They're 3-0 in the division. And again, you can't emphasize enough how big that game was against Cincinnati, and now you've got Cleveland, which is no gimme. We've struggled at times, but you've got 2 games against Cleveland left and 1 against Cincy there. That'll be tough, but man, that's big for the Ravens. Want to thank our sponsors here: Original Green Turtle, the Blue Ox Bar and Grill, Bud Light, FlyLady.net, the Ocean City Golf Club, G&G Outfitters, Ravens247.com, the Comfort Inn Gold Coast, and JCTickets.net. Mike Bradley, Tony Lombardi back from sick leave for a couple of weeks, although they're still under the weather a little bit, but it's good to have you back.
Taking it for the team.
There you go. John Gehrig, Bruce Laird's on vacation. He'll be back next week. Hey, want to send our best Thanksgiving wishes out to everybody out in TV and radio. Hopefully it's spent with family and friends, and lots to be thankful for. And certainly thankful for the win, guys, over the Cincinnati Bengals. And as I mentioned last break, I mean, I guess when you've got the running game going so successfully, it's funny, again, as I mentioned, Anquan Bolden 1 catch, Ed Dixon 2, Dennis Pitta none, and Dixon and Pitta have been huge the last 3 weeks for us.
Yeah, they've been a big part of the offense, and that might be what Cincinnati adjusted to, and they sort of rolled coverage towards those guys, and that's all the NFL has always been about. How do you adjust for their counter moves? How do you attack their weaknesses and protect your own weaknesses? And I think the Ravens did a really good job with that. And then props to Cam Cameron, as we mentioned earlier, gets a lot of criticism, but I think he deserves some props for that game plan against the Bengals.
Guys, the only issue I had, I guess, in the game was that I think it was the first long pass to Torrey Smith down there. It just kills me that we ended up with a field goal on that play instead of a touchdown, because again, those are big differences there. I know we've struggled mightily in the red zone, and Cincinnati, when it came, and look, we converted in the red zone. We were 2 or 3, don't get me wrong, but when Cincinnati needed to run the football down there in the red zone, they were successful. It seemed like every single time. That one series, though, it killed me that on 3rd down, I guess we went for a pass there. I think, and you know me, I love the run. I think you got to do it. You got to run the football there and pound them.
Well, I look at the Cincinnati Bengals as a team that, when you first get the schedule, you say Browns, Bengals, there's 4 wins right there.
Yeah.
That's not the case anymore with the Bengals. And hats off to Marvin Lewis for the coaching job that he's done with this young team that in the offseason lost Carson Palmer, lost Chad Ochocinco. And when you lose big players like that, you wonder how they're going to make up for those huge losses. And they've done that and more. Andy Dalton's been a terrific find as a second-round guy. And you've got this offensive line that the Cincinnati Bengals have is really underrated.
Yeah.
They pushed around the Ravens' defensive line quite a bit in that running game yesterday.
They did. It's a Cincinnati team. I think addition by subtraction, though, talking about the guys that aren't with Cincinnati anymore, John, this is a team to be reckoned with. And we talk about the division. If the Cleveland Browns make good use of their draft picks in the next couple of years with Mike Holmgren, we'll see that, that's not a given. This could be it already is, but this could be one hell of a division top to bottom in a few years.
And now the Bengals get 2 first-round picks for some dude named Palmer out in Oakland.
And that's scary after watching them on Sunday with acquiring even more talent there.
Yeah, I mean, and they're young. That's the thing. I mean, you get rid of Houshmandzadeh and basically
Chad Ochocinco.
You get rid. Basically, they got rid of their entire offense that. When the Bengals made their playoff run a few years ago, is gone and replaced with younger and better talent. So Tony's right. I mean, this is not a cakewalk. I mean, the Browns are still the Browns, I think, but the Bengals are. It's hard not to be impressed with this quarterback.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And let's talk about their offense, guys, and for us defensively. Andy Dalton, 373 yards in the air, 24-45. He had a touchdown. He did have 3 picks, though, and obviously that was a big difference in the game for the Ravens, who were able to, to take advantage of that. Some really good interceptions. Ladarius Webb, that was a hell of an interception that he made on a ball that was just thrown slightly beyond the wide receiver there. Jimmy Smith, good to see the rookie first-round pick, him get into the mix as well. Ed Reed had one, I think, late in the first half. So that was good to see. That was the difference. And you expect that of a rookie quarterback, though.
You do, but I think he made a lot of plays that you wouldn't expect from a rookie quarterback.
Pinpoint accuracy is what stuck out for me.
Absolutely. And you know, that interception at the end of the first half, I think he's just trying to make a play. Ed Reed's down there, so that's just, you know, one of those alley-oop kind of plays. You know, it's almost like a punt, so to speak. But the other two, like you said, Ladarius Webb's interception, wow. I mean, I don't think any quarterback in the league expects a defensive back to make a catch like that on the ball. And I'm not even so sure that his receiver didn't cut his route short. You know,
that could have been.
So, but the one that Jimmy Smith was a bad throw.
About 50 seconds. I mean, you take a look at Cincinnati. I know A.J. Green was out, John, but these receivers are very impressive. We saw last year, Jerome Simpson, I mentioned this last week during the show, had a huge game against us again. He had a huge game last year against us in the last game of the season.
Yeah, these guys have a lot of speed. They're young. You can see when Jimmy Smith got beat, he wasn't making up any ground. So these guys can just move. And the quarterback, Andy Dalton doesn't have a great arm, but he just throws a nice deep ball, and it's always right on time. And for a young guy, I mean, that's really hard to do, to at least have the anticipation to throw those deep balls on time and accurately.
All right, we'll talk more about it. Our defense against their offense. The Ravens, though, 31-24, first place Ravens in the AFC North. It's the Ravens Drive Show here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio, 93.5 The Beach.
G&G Outfitters, Inc. is a premier full-service in-house provider of branded merchandise and marketing solutions. With over 20 years of proven experience, G&G continues to successfully produce branded merchandise for some of the world's leading corporations, associations, and teams. From start to finish, G&G Outfitters is your single-source, one-stop partner for promotional products, logoed apparel, and all of your branded needs. For more info on the services and capabilities of G&G, visit ggoutfitters.com or call 301-731-2282.
Come see us at Blue Off.
What's this all about?
I'm giving Rich the NFL experience of a goal line dive.
Really?
There's an easier way to get an ultimate NFL fan experience. Just snap the tag wherever Bud Light is sold and you can win. Bud Light in the NFL. Here we go.
Can I make it?
On the internet, yes. Into the end zone, no.
Are you embarrassed to invite people to your home to watch your favorite football team? Well, don't worry, because you're not alone. FlyLady.net is the support you need. Join us and our more than 600,000 members and learn how to crush the clutter and game plan your way through routines that'll help you organize your home and your life. Tackle clutter and get your home game day ready with FlyLady.net.
Back in, it is the Ravens Drive Show here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio, home of the Ravens, 93.5 The Beach. Mike Bradley, Tony Lombardi, John Gehrig, the Ravens 31-24 winners. We talked offense a lot. We're getting into defense here, guys. And, you know, a couple of things I thought for the Ravens, though, that I think you take a look back at the game, and I think it may not have been this close, though. You give a lot of credit to Cincinnati's defense. You mentioned Jimmy Smith. It looked like he was guessing on the route there, that he expected an underneath route and not a deep route. He was completely caught flat-footed. I think that's just kind of a rookie mistake there. That's 7 points right there. That's huge. At that point, it's a 31-17 game. I also thought in the first half, I guess it was the second series for them, there was a throw, I think either Caldwell or Simpson. It was a great throw by Andy Dalton, the receiver, but Kerry Williams misjudged the throw. Throw was a little bit short. Tried to bat it down, as you could see. What baffled me, but Ed Reed, being Ed Reed, he's, as Steve Bisciotti said, he's wrong 50% of the time.
I know what you're going to say.
He's a Pro Bowl.
Why is the safety in front of the corner?
Why is the safety ever trailing a wide receiver? That should never be the case when you're giving over the top help for the most part. So, I thought
there was a receiver coming across the middle, was wide open. So, Ed Reed.
Yeah, but he was playing the receiver that Kerry Williams was on. So, or at least it looked like. Maybe
there was one guy that was going to be open. Regardless.
One way or the other. But anyway, some breakdowns there. Also, there was a play, if you guys remember, that Kerry Williams had come in on a blitz in the third or early fourth quarter. Brian Leonard, the fullback, chipped him. He fell down. To his credit, he got back up and went after Andy Dalton, but he completely whiffed. Leonard, who had chipped, then just kind of let himself out into the flats there deep down the field. So, I mean, Kerry Williams got to make that play. I think he can make that play, but that was I think that was a third down conversion right there. So there were some plays there that I think we certainly helped out Cincinnati where, if we make the play, maybe this game's not nearly as close as it ended up being.
Yeah, but that's football, though.
Yeah, no, I understand. But I'm saying it's correctable mistakes, though.
Look at Bolden. I mean, Cincinnati can be talking about the Bolden play, or they can be talking about Gresham's touchdown, not touchdown, whatever.
I'm just saying,
what a bad rule that is.
It is a bad rule. I'm just saying we've got correctable mistakes as opposed to them just physically beating us. That's all.
Sure. Yeah. I think that's every week, though.
Fair enough. Yeah. You talk about the Jermaine Gresham play at the end of the game there. That was certainly huge. I agree. I mean, you make the catch, you get over the goal line, or you touch the pylon, whatever. I mean, that's the Johnson call in the Detroit game a few years ago. I mean, it's a bad call, but it benefited the Ravens, Tony.
It did benefit the Ravens, and just imagine if the roles were reversed, how the whole tenor of this show would be different. And talking about this game, and you look at that rule, and then it reminds me a little bit of like the Tuck rule. It's a bad rule, makes no sense. It rewards the offense for their own failure, really. And in this case, it rewards the defense for their own failure. Because if you are a running back and you break the plane, and then as you are falling to the ground, someone comes and hits you and jars the ball loose, that's still regarded a touchdown. This guy earned a touchdown yesterday. It's a bad rule. They got to change it. I know it worked out for the Ravens, but they got to change that rule.
But here's the deal. He caught the ball, and he got possession of the ball. The ball itself, even though his feet weren't in the end zone, the ball was. So he didn't cross the plane with possession of the ball. So it was.
But he takes a step or two in there, and then falls with the ball on the ground. To me, it flies in the face of everything.
But imagine you're jumping up for a ball, right? And you put a foot down and then fall on your back and the ball comes out. Is that a catch?
But as opposed to a rushing play, all you have to do is get the ball.
Yeah, but it wasn't a rushing play because when
I know it wasn't.
In a rushing play, I'm taking the ball over the plane of the goal line, touchdown. He didn't have possession of the ball until the ball was already in the end zone. His feet were. This is like 1 in a million type play. His feet were still in the field of play, but the ball in his hands were they're already across the plane. So he basically had gained possession of the ball in the end zone.
I know if that was Ed Dixon and that wasn't a touchdown, I'd be pretty ticked off right now.
And so we would all be. And I just think if you have the ball in your two hands and you cross the plane, touch the pylon, it should just be like a rushing play.
Well, he's saying he didn't have possession of the ball.
But I understand. Yeah. Well, hey, look, hand it to the refs. We can talk about bad calls, etc. Hand it to the refs that they took a good look at it, and
they did hand it to Ryan Winter. He was in the scrum.
Yeah, you saw it on the one play. The ref got completely obliterated on that. It was unbelievable on the one play. The other play too, where now he didn't. The one thing about Suggs is he didn't bring him down. Although I guess they could have still called it, but there was the non-horse collar call on Andy Dalton, who got called for intentional grounding. The thing is, he did grab. There's clearly he grabbed the back of his shoulder pads, but at the last minute he kind of let go. He didn't completely bring him down.
But you can do that if you're inside the box.
I don't know that you
can do that inside the box. Yeah, that's an outside the tackle box rule. So it's try to prevent those injuries with what's the guy who used to play? Roy Williams.
It was Roy Williams with the Cowboys.
Yeah, he did that with T.O., and he broke another guy's leg doing the same thing.
But if Dalton will grow some red dreadlocks, it wouldn't really matter because you can just grab him by the hair.
Yeah, one could argue that Torrey Smith's dreadlocks cost it a touchdown, but it's considered a part of the uniform, so you can drag him down with it.
Think about his day if he doesn't have those dreads, because he's gone for a score on that.
Well, we had a poll question on our site today. Should Torrey Smith, for the benefit of the team, cut his dreads?
Or just tuck him in under the helmet. I mean, whatever.
And I think like 82% of the people that respond say yes, he should.
Yeah. Well, hey, real quick, guys, 15 seconds left. The Cincinnati Bengals, though, 52 points scored last 2 minutes of either half this season. That's big. So they average basically a touchdown. So they're a team that has been able to come back in games. We'll talk more about it. Ravens win over the Bengals. More of the Ravens Wrap Show next on Comcast Beach TV and 93.5 The Beach.
Ravens Wrap is brought to you by Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill. Ravens Wrap is brought to you by Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
Welcome back in. It is the Ravens Wrap Show here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio, home of the Ravens 93.5 The Beach. Want to thank our sponsors, the original Green Turtle, the Blue Ox Bar and Grill, where we're broadcasting from, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City with Ravens Roost 44. Guys, give yourselves a hand. The 73 OSC North leading Ravens. Also, Bud Light, FlyLady.net, the Ocean City Golf Club, G&G Outfitters, Ravens247.com, the Comfort Inn Gold Coast, and JCTickets.net. Don't forget, next week, November 30th, is the big drawing for the trip to San Diego, a trip for two. So make sure you want to come down here. We've been telling you the last couple of weeks about getting those blue tickets. Also, we got red tickets we give away, and you get some great Ravens merchandise in the drawing that we do in between the breaks. Mike Bradley, Tony Lombardi, John Garrick, all wishing everybody a very happy Thanksgiving week. Hopefully it's filled with family and friends. Guys, continue to talk about our defense against the Bengals offense.
And the Ravens win.
And the Ravens win, right, on Thursday. And we'll talk about the upcoming game against the Niners. Guys, and I know one of the audience members, Joel, had brought this up. I know you guys were talking about it, was the lack of pass rush against the Cincinnati Bengals. And I had argued the last couple of weeks that it seemed like the Ravens were just rushing 5, trying to drop 6. And early on in the season, they got away with that, and that's great. But they weren't getting that pressure against Pittsburgh and Seattle. This week, I thought in the first half, Pagano did, and they weren't bringing blitz packages in those two games. I thought, first half, they were bringing those blitz packages. They just weren't quite getting there. I mean, they were close but no cigar on that one. In the second half, though, it did look like he dropped off. I think part of that's due to the fact that, hey, even without A.J. Green, guys, this is a very impressive receiving core. They may not be household names, but Jerome Simpson, Andre Caldwell, Gresham, the tight end, and even Hawkins, who had a big game against the Steelers 2 weeks ago, those guys are pretty darn good receivers.
They're good receivers, and I think one thing that impressed me about Andy Dalton, too, is that, and John and I were talking about this on the break, he throws on time. And he gets rid of the ball pretty quickly, and he's very, very accurate. And when you have those things working for you, that's a good weapon to go against the blitz, because he throws the ball to a spot. There was one time yesterday where, I forgot which receiver it was, he broke to the right and Dalton threw it to his left. You don't see Joe Flacco doing those kinds. Joe Flacco throws to open receivers that are running to open areas. He doesn't throw on time. And so I think when you put all those things in the mix, Andy Dalton's a good guy to have to combat a blitz, and I think that's what they were doing yesterday.
I mean, John, he does get rid of the ball quickly. It is a West Coast offense, but I also thought at times he was able to sit back there and wait for some of these deeper 15 to 18-yard skinny posts against our cover to, get time to evolve and then throw the football. So it wasn't all timing.
Yeah, the defensive line truly's been struggling here over the last few weeks. I think the last 3 games we may have 3 or 4 sacks, and Suggs has been nowhere to be found. It's been Kruger and McPhee, I think, have 1.5 each, and Pollard has 1. So
I mean, Suggs seems to go, guys, in spurts. I mean, and we've seen that the last couple of years. He'll get a bunch, and then he'll disappear for maybe a month before.
I think it's matchup things with Suggs, because Whitworth is, since he's been with the Bengals, his own Suggs. If you notice yesterday, he switched over to the other side a couple of times to go up against Smith.
Yeah, and Haloti Ngata, I compare him to Shaquille O'Neal a lot, just because he seems sometimes to be not a factor. Haloti not a factor.
One assisted tackle yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, he should never be blocked. And if he's going to be the best in the league, the best in the business, perennial Pro Bowler, all those types of things, and he needs to dominate every single game.
I don't think he's healthy.
And I don't think. Now, why do you say that?
Well, he's had this little lingering thigh injury that they're not reporting much about. It's almost like Michael Orr the year before, where he had the ankle, thigh, leg injury that he never showed up on the injury report. So I think that Haloti Ngata is hurt a little bit. He's a little nicked up, and hopefully he'll get healthy during the longer stretch after the game against the 49ers.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And that might have been a factor against the Steelers and Seahawks. We talked about the fact the Bengals have a good, solid offensive line, but I got to tell you, and somebody's been emailing me to my Baltimore talk show, and he's been saying this isn't the same Ravens rush defense. And I have to admit, after the last couple of weeks, they're getting pushed back at times pretty good. I mean, the stats don't always tell the story of the game, but that's been something that, if he's not 100% healthy, that could be a factor. I thought, guys, Paul Kruger yesterday, he's really progressing. I thought, though, a few times he's yay short in getting Dalton. They're yay short in getting there. again, I mean, it's a game of inches, feet. You got to get there if you're bringing the blitz. And again, they just were a little short yesterday.
That's what Tony was saying. You see a lot of these good quarterbacks, and that's why the guy's impressive. A lot of the good quarterbacks just miss getting sacked.
Yeah.
And so it's a feel. I mean, that's the thing we're talking about. Sometimes there's the it factor, and I don't know if he's got it or not, but it sure seems like he's on his way to having it. There's a presence, there's a confidence in the pocket. He's calm. He gets rid of the ball, and that's why he's almost sacked a lot, and why he's not getting hit a whole lot. And when he does get hit, he's able to get rid of the ball a little bit. And but we did harass him when it counted. So with all props to the defense. When they had a chance to put this game in overtime, the defense showed up and stuck it to him.
Paul Kruger's getting one-on-one opportunities. I think he's going to continue to blossom there. I think Terrell Suggs, guys, I know you want to maintain your outside lane, but I don't think sometimes he goes inside. I think he needs to go inside a little bit more. He's constantly on the outside. This is my thoughts. Pernell McPhee, got about 30 seconds. I'll tell you, Pernell McPhee continues to develop. He took up a double team and kept pushing that pocket.
Yeah, I think Pernell McPhee, I talked to Eric DeCosta about him. He told me that if they had known that he was going to be this good, they would have taken him in the second round. That's how well he's playing. Yeah. He's got what the coaches call heavy hands, and I think those heavy hands help him get through those double teams too.
All right, we'll talk about it more. The Ravens 31-24 over the Bengals. We are feeling good Thanksgiving week in first place. More of the Ravens Wrap Show coming up next.
JC Tickets provides first-class trips to Ravens road games, including airfare, 4-star hotels, game tickets, and cocktail parties. We also help provide great seating locations to all Ravens home games. JC Tickets, where the games begin. Visit us at jctickets.net. Win a trip to San Diego for 2 when you attend the Raven Wrap Shows at the Blue Ox Bar and Grill on 127th Street. Get 1 free raffle ticket for every show you attend, Wednesdays, 7 to 9 p.m. Drawing is during the November 30th Ravens Wrap Show.
G&G Outfitters, Inc. is a premier full-service in-house provider of branded merchandise and marketing solutions. With over 20 years of proven experience, G&G continues to successfully produce branded merchandise for some of the world's leading corporations, associations, and teams. From start to finish, G&G Outfitters is your single-source, one-stop partner for promotional products, logoed apparel, and all of your branded needs. For more info on the services and capabilities of G&G, visit ggoutfitters.com or call 301-731-2282.
What's going on?
We're giving Matt the NFL experience of a high-pressure field goal.
Look out!
It's terrible, man!
There's an easier way to get an ultimate NFL fan experience. Just snap the tag wherever Bud Light is sold and you can win. Bud Light in the NFL. Here we go.
Hey, it gets easier. Really? No.
Are you embarrassed to invite people to your home to watch your favorite football team? Well, don't worry, because you're not alone. FlyLady.net is the support you need. Join us and our more than 600,000 members and learn how to crush the clutter and game plan your way through routines that'll help you organize your home and your life. Tackle clutter and get your home game day ready with FlyLady.net.
Looking for the plan.
From the original, oh boy, that's our digs last year. It's the original Green Turtles Ravens Wrap Show from the Blue Ox this year, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City. Ravens Roost 44 with us, Mike Bradley, Tony Lombardi, John Gary, wishing everybody a great Thanksgiving. Guys, the one thing that we haven't touched upon yet is Ray Lewis did not play in this game for the Ravens. So, and I argue, I don't mean to minimize him being out of the game. Certainly his leadership, if anything, on the field is huge. And he can still make plays, but he's not the Ray of 5 years ago or 10 years ago. So I don't think it was as big a loss on the play on the field as it might have been 5 or 10 years ago. That said, though, still, without Ray, life without Ray, we haven't been used to that much. His first game he missed since, I think, 07, 08.
57 games or something like that?
Yeah, 57 games, yeah. So, I thought the guys, all in all, held up well. There weren't communication issues. I mean, Ed Reed was still back there, Tony and John. But, I hand it to them. They did a pretty solid job with Ray out of the game.
Yeah, I think the thing that Ray brings more, and you touched upon him, Mike, is leadership. And the pre-snap adjustments that he gets his team to move, when he sees something from all his film study. Right. I don't think that you can replace that. Even if he's on the sidelines, he's not making those calls on the field. So I think that's the one thing that they miss. And a lot of times you'll see that those adjustments lead to turnovers. And I think that that's one thing when Ray Lewis is not in there. So like to see him back there against the 49ers for sure when they're facing Frank Gore.
Yeah, it's just weird not seeing him out there. You're right, but the guys did okay. It looked like there were some, particularly on one of the goal line runs, one of Benson's touchdowns. The gap completely wasn't filled. So I don't know.
Right, I agree because I thought they should have shut it down there, but Benson was able to weave his way through when it should have been stopped. Yeah.
But overall, I mean, defense didn't play great. The offense won this game, and it certainly wasn't the middle linebackers' fault why the Bengals put up almost 500 yards of offense. So.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Most of that coming through the air. Tony, let's talk a little insider here. First off, though, I'm going to catch you with Ray, though. Is there anything insider that you know about Ray? We were told it's a toe injury. Hopefully it's not, turf toe. We were told it's nothing serious. At least that's what John Harbaugh said, if you want to take that at face value.
Well, it's an interesting story with John Harbaugh and Ray Lewis because, the story was broken by Aaron Wilson from the Carroll County Times that Ray Lewis would miss the game. And up until the game time, they were playing the charade that he was going to play.
Yeah, it was questionable, right?
Right. So, but we all knew he was going to be out because, to me, why would you go through those gyrations of covering up if he wasn't going to be out? What do you have to worry about if he was going to play? So, when you look at Ray and they're talking about this being a week-to-week thing, maybe it's going to be. Hopefully, it's not like Ben Grubbs where he missed 6 games.
Yeah, 6
something along those.
Yep.
So Ray's talking like he's going to be back out on the field on Thursday. I'm not so sure. I think it's 50-50 right now.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out about some other things we want to talk about. I know you wanted to talk about, touch upon the inside linebackers. Obviously, a little shift there because of the fact that Ray being out. Danielle Ellerbe active for the first time in a while. But what do you have on the inside linebacker?
Well, one of the things when I talk to the Ravens about the inside linebacker position, it's a source of frustration for them because they haven't been able to use Ray Lewis as a mentor to a guy that will ultimately replace him. There's been some they thought maybe Tavares Gooden could have been that guy.
Who's now with the 49ers as a backup.
Right. And Ellerbe is a guy who's shown flashes of brilliance and makes big plays, but he also has mental lapses, and they can't have that. And obviously, hasn't been influenced enough by Ray Lewis to create that work ethic that they'd like to see. And then Jameel McClain, I think he's got some physical limitations that doesn't allow him to be that kind of player. So they're happy that the draft is pretty rich in talent and inside linebacker this year. So I would expect to see the Ravens make an early play for a middle or inside linebacker in the 2012 draft.
We talked about him a little bit earlier. Paul Kruger, he's had a very solid year so far. It seems to be night and day from what we saw, I think, the first 2 years from him.
Yeah, they give a lot of credit to 2 people inside with the Ravens, and that is one being Jarrett Johnson, who's been a real mentor to Paul Kruger, and also the outside linebacker coach Ted Monachino, who has a reputation of being a guy who can bring along a guy who has pass rushing skills but needs to have them refined, and I think you're seeing that with Paul Kruger this year.
Yeah, he's supposedly one of the few blitz gurus in the league. Also, Anquan Bolden was somebody you wanted to touch upon.
Yeah, Anquan is a guy that I think there's some frustration right now with the coaching staff because Anquan hasn't made that real tough catch in tough situations. He didn't do it against the Steelers down deep in Steeler territory during that winning drive, and he didn't do it against the Bengals when they had a third down conversion. It was a slant route that he had his hands on and didn't catch it. So they're getting a little frustrated because that's the guy that they need to step up and make big plays, and he hasn't done it in the last couple of games.
And it certainly wasn't the easiest of catches, but he had a huge touchdown drop or goal line drop there against the Pittsburgh Steelers in the playoff game. Just one catch, targeted only 2 times. You credit that to the defense, trying to take him away, but just one catch against the Bengals. However, that was a touchdown and a great play. Joe rolls out. Bolden adjusts. We talked with the audience about that. Bolden adjusts, moves back to the inside a little bit, and Joe, who I think was looking deeper maybe to Smith, throws it to Bolden, and then he goes down the middle of the field.
Yeah, I thought he was going to throw that ball to Smith too. I really thought he was going to, because he was double covered. They had the cover 2 rollover coverage. They would have intercepted it, but he did. That was the kind of play that you normally see Ben Roethlisberger make.
Yeah. Yep.
Buying time in the pocket, and something breaks off.
It's an improv play, and we're not used to Joe making that.
And that's something between the receiver and the quarterback that you should like to see develop more. So that was a good play.
No doubt about it. I can't explain. We don't have time. But I can't explain the one interception though that he threw to Ed Dixon. Nate Clements undercut that. He was with him the entire way. But we're going to get into talking the Ravens and 49ers this Thursday. Big game for them. We'll talk about it more coming up. Comcast Beach TV and 93.5 The Beach.
Ravens Wrap is brought to you by Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill. Ravens Wrap is brought to you by Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
And welcome in. It is the Ravens Wrap Show here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio, the strongest Ravens affiliate on the Eastern Shore, 93.5 The Beach. We're broadcasting from the Ravens Room here at the Blue Ox, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City. Ravens Room 44, give yourselves a hand. Happy Thanksgiving week to everybody. Hopefully it's filled with family and friends and lots of good food. Oh yeah, and football as well. Want to thank our sponsors, of course, the original Green Turtle, our Old Digs, the Blue Ox Bar and Grill here, Bud Light, FlyLady.net, the Ocean City Golf Club, G&G Outfitters, the Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, and I almost got through the list without having to look down, JCTickets.net, Mike Bradley, Tony Lombardi, John Gary, guys, and game coming up, the Harbaugh Bowl, as the NFL has pitted the Ravens and 49ers on Thursday night, and certainly a game in which at the beginning of the season, this is where you fall into that trap, taking a look at the schedule in this league of parity, thinking, that's going to be a win. Now, this is a 9-1 San Francisco 49ers team coming in, guys. And let me go down just real quickly the games they played and the results. They beat Seattle week 1, 33-17, as Jim Harbaugh continues to dominance of Pete Carroll from college to the pros. They lost to Dallas 27-24 in overtime. If you remember that one, that was in San Francisco. But that's a pretty good Dallas team, though. They beat the aforementioned Cincinnati Bengals that we played 13-8. They beat the Eagles, who were reeling 24-23, but that was a game in which they were trailing. They had to come back in that game on the road, and they win. They killed Tampa Bay at home 48-3. It was just one of those weeks. They beat a very good Detroit team 25-19. And of course, the whole Harbaugh, Jim Schwartz thing afterwards. Jim Schwartz going to Arbutus on them. We had the win over Cleveland 20-10. They beat the Redskins 19-11 in D.C. They beat the Giants, who's a very solid team, despite the clunker they had against the Eagles the other night, 27-20. And then they beat the Arizona Cardinals. I believe the score was 23-7. And a game in which they had 44 minutes of possession compared to Arizona's 15. It's a good ball club, folks. I mean, they don't have a ton of talent per se on the offense, but their defense pretty stacked.
Well, I think when the league looked at this schedule, all that they were attracted to was the brothers playing on Thanksgiving. Yeah. They didn't really care that the 49ers had to come 3 time zones on a short week. You know why? Because they thought the 49ers stunk too. Yeah. Just like everybody else, but they don't. And the reason they travel well, I think this is going to be their 5th game on the Eastern time zone.
That's correct.
They've won all 4 of the other ones, and they travel really well, in my opinion, for one reason only. Well, not one reason, but they travel well because they run the football, they protect the football, they manage field position, and they also get after you on defense. Right. And I think when you have all those kinds of things, you can travel well. And this team, John, reminds me a lot of the 2000 Ravens.
Yeah, they're coming out of nowhere a little bit, and Jim Harbaugh just has, I don't know what he's got, but when he was with Stanford and just turned that team around, when USC was the dominant team in college football, he always just seemed to find a way to get his guys up, and now Stanford's one of the best programs in the country. Right. And now 49ers, Alex Smith was thrown to the heap I don't know how many times here over the last, every year he's is he going to be with San Francisco? I don't know if he's
had like a million different offensive coordinators too.
So now he's a serviceable guy. Yeah. And this team is kind of taking on that personality. And here's what happens when you start winning. The confidence builds that you expect to win. So when now you come out of the locker room expecting to win, that's dangerous. And you're right about the 2000 Ravens. I mean, you come out expecting to win the games, no matter you overcome everything. It doesn't matter. You're not supposed to win coming across the country. You're supposed to lose all those games, just like last year. It was a big news thing. All the teams lose. Well, they come across and it's no problem. And meanwhile, teams like the Ravens who are expected to win go to Seattle. And what do we use as an excuse?
The time trip.
Yeah, we use a 3.5-hour plane ride. I mean, all right, guys, everyone doing exercise. Sit down and put some headphones on. Sit on your couch, put some headphones on, prop your legs up, and look at your iPad for 3.5 hours. Then get up, sleep, maybe eat a couple steaks, go to sleep, watch another movie at night in your bed. Do that for 2 days, and then see if you can go jog around the neighborhood, or if your knee's hurt, or you're just not ready, or, so I'm not buying all this stuff, and they're not either. So they come across, they play football, they run the ball. Their turnover differential, like you're saying, protecting the ball, plus 17. When you do that, that's what the Ravens used to do.
Yep.
When you dominate and you take the ball away and don't give it back, you're going to win games, period.
I think the one thing, though, that certainly plays in the Ravens' favor is it's a short week. We saw what happened last Thursday night, not taking anything away from Denver and Tim Tebow in that one, but the Jets coming off a Sunday night game against an arch rival, having to go to Denver, and play on a Thursday night. Still, that's going to be big for San Francisco. It's a really short week. The fact that the Ravens don't have to travel, that maybe that gives the coach a little bit more time to prepare as well. We got about 50 seconds here, Tony. I think that certainly helps the Ravens. And you said 4-0 in the East Coast games. Maybe they're due for a loss here on the East Coast.
Yeah, I think Jim Harbaugh in his press conference today, he was talking about how the 49ers drew the short straw on this. Yeah. It really is stacked against them. And again, I think it gets back to the league not really respecting this organization. Who would have thought they would have turned it around like this? I mean, competitive, yes, but like this. So I think that they just wanted these two brothers together. And it makes for a good story. But this short week, traveling 3 time zones, is just, I think, too much to overcome.
It's very difficult. We'll get into breaking down San Francisco, some of their players, and then we'll give our final predictions. All of that is coming up next. It is the Ravens Wrap Show here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio 93.5 The Beach. From the Blue Ox, Ravens Roost 44. Give yourselves a hand. We will be back.
G&G Outfitters, Inc. is a premier full-service in-house provider of branded merchandise and marketing solutions. With over 20 years of proven experience, G&G continues to successfully produce branded merchandise for some of the world's leading corporations, associations, and teams. From start to finish, G&G Outfitters is your single-source, one-stop partner for promotional products, logoed apparel, and all of your branded needs. For more info on the services and capabilities of G&G, visit ggoutfitters.com or call 301-731-2282.
Welcome to the Comfort Inn Gold Coast. Conveniently located just 1 block from the beach and adjacent to shopping at the Gold Coast Mall and the movie theater. Newly renovated and open year-round with a marvelous bayfront view. Visit us on the web at comfortgoldcoast.com and see our hot deals and great golf packages, or simply call our direct reservation line to plan your stay.
What's this all about?
We're giving Rich the NFL experience of a goal line dive.
Really?
There's an easier way to get an ultimate NFL fan experience. Just snap the tag wherever Bud Light is sold and you could win. Bud Light in the NFL. Here we go.
Can I make it?
On the internet, yes. Into the end zone, no.
Are you embarrassed to invite people to your home to watch your favorite football team? Well, don't worry, because you're not alone. FlyLady.net is the support you need. Join us and our more than 600,000 members and learn how to crush the clutter and game plan your way through routines that'll help you organize your home and your life. Tackle clutter and get your home game day ready with FlyLady.net.
Looking for the plan. Ravens Wrap Show here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio, home of the Ravens 93.5 The Beach. Mike Bradley, Tony Lombardi, John Gehrig, as we break down the Ravens and the 49ers Thursday Night Football, the NFL Network, and of course here on Delmarva's Rock Radio 93.5 The Beach. The first time 2 brothers have coached against each other in a game. Obviously, it's very fitting for Thanksgiving. Guys, the Ravens 7-3, the 49ers 9-1. Let's just go through real quickly with the personnel. Alex Smith, who, as you talked about, John, thrown to the scrap heap, has been through so many different coordinators and head coaches and all that in systems. 64% completion percentage this year. He's only averaging 175 yards passing a game, though. That's in this passing league, that's obviously extremely low. But 11 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, only sacked 21 times this year, so it's only 2 a game. He's very efficient. Frank Gore having a really monster year for the 49ers, averaging almost 5 yards a carry, 5 touchdowns this season. Kendall Hunter, his backup, averaging almost 5 yards a carry. Very solid run game there. And Alex Smith himself's run a decent amount. Vernon Davis, the tight end out of Maryland, really blossoming. Maybe you could thank Singletary for his development. He leads the team in receptions. Michael Crabtree, the draft pick from a few years ago out of, I believe, Texas A&M or Texas Tech there. And then after that, you've got, just a guys all kind of lumped together. Braylon Edwards, former Jet, Delaney Walker, the backup tight end, Frank Gore, et cetera, et cetera. It's a team that, they run the football. They run a lot of double tights, wing back formations and all that. And then they do a lot off the running game with that. If you watch Stanford last year in the bowl game, they were highly successful. You get lulled to sleep with the running game, and then they'll slip guys out and throw touchdown passes to them.
Well, the stability that Alex Smith has brought to the team, and like you just pointed out, Mike, 11 touchdown passes, 3 interceptions. He's taking care of the football. And he does have, when you have a good running game, that's your best friend as a quarterback. Plus, he does have some explosive playmakers there, too. I mean, you've got Crabtree. Ted Ginn Jr. can get down the field and stretch the defense.
He plays a little bit.
And Davis, he's a really good athletic tight end. So I think he's got the weapons. The only thing that San Francisco 49ers needed was some stability and consistency at the quarterback play. And he's not setting the world on fire, but he is stable.
Yeah, and when you get into this game, truly their best playmaker, is Frank Gore. So the Ravens are going to have to come out and really make Alex Smith beat him. And that's really the way to beat this 49ers team. And if he does, he does. So if Alex Smith beats the defense, Joe Flacco is going to need to beat the 49ers defense. 49ers have the number 1 rush defense in the league, and I think that's going to be the story. Are the Ravens going to look at that on paper and be committed to the run or not?
Yeah, I'm hoping they don't measure it on stats. They look at matchups, and they go after the matchups.
Yeah, taking a look, by the way, we talk about San Francisco's run game, their offensive line. Joe Staley, who the Ravens liked a few years ago, I think out of Western Michigan, Central Michigan, a really solid left tackle, Mike Iupati, I think second-year guy out of Rutgers. The right tackle, Anthony Davis, second-year guy, pretty good, although he's not very good in pass protection. But Jonathan Goodwin, their center, 10-year guy out of Michigan. So they've got some guys they drafted, and then they patched in a couple of guys who have been very solid this year and have gotten the job done, for them. Defensively, guys, I mean, this is the best. They run a 3-4 defense like the Ravens. This is the best inside linebacker duo in the league with Patrick Willis out of Ole Miss and Navarro Bowman. Navarro Bowman's got 73 tackles, Patrick Willis 61, and then the next guy after that is 35. Those guys are tackle machines.
Yeah, and it's a philosophy that, much like the Ravens, let's have our guys up front eat up blockers and let these guys scrape and make tackles, and they're making plays. Patrick Willis, he wears 52 also, and there's a reason. He idolizes Ray Lewis, and he plays a lot like him, really.
I mean, he looks very much like a younger Ray Lewis in terms of what he can do sideline to sideline, John.
Yeah, he's one of the better linebackers, actually. I don't know how many years now, 5 or 6 years in the league, but he's really one of the better linebackers, I think, to come out since Ray. There have been a lot of good ones, but this guy's dominant. He's been leading the league in tackles since he came out his rookie season.
He's well-rounded.
Yeah, it really is. So, but when you have these aggressive type of guys, that's when you need to be committed to the run and really sell this play action, suck them up, and just kind of throw over them. So you just need to use it to our advantage.
The other guy we have to watch out for, Justin Smith, defensive end. We saw him a few years back with Cincinnati. I mean, you talk about a guy who has a motor, who doesn't stop. Justin Smith's one of those guys. He's got 4.5 sacks. Ahmad Brooks, the linebacker, 5. But the backup linebacker, Alden Smith, who rotates in, he's got 6.5. So, they've got some depth there, too, that they work defensively. And Vic Fazio, former Ravens consultant, is their defensive coordinator who was with Jim Harbaugh at Stanford.
It's a good team. I mean, and he's done a nice job, Jim Harbaugh, in rounding this team together in just less than a year. So I think it's going to be a really competitive game. I mean, it's almost like they're brothers playing each other, but it's a lot like playing your brother because these teams are built very much the same way.
50 seconds. Let's go down and get our final predictions.
I don't have much analysis here. I just think that my prediction when the schedule came out was that Jim Harbaugh was going to beat John Harbaugh. That was my big upset special of the year. Now that it's they're 9-1 and a good team, I think the Ravens just come out win. I think 23-17 home. Again, just similar with the Bengals. Ravens are at a different level of class.
30
seconds. I think this short week works too well in Ravens' favor. I thought that from the beginning. Before that, I even knew the 49ers were a good team. They're a good team, but they're going to lose 17-16 to the Ravens.
All right, I like the Ravens 19-16, but we've got to stop the run, make Alex Smith beat us. I agree with that. I'm worried about Vernon Davis. You got to watch out for him. I think we can control the receivers. I like our corners against that. And I think balance on offense, run the football. That's going to do it for us. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy
Go Ravens.
Thanksgiving.
We'll see you next week on Comcast Beach TV and 93.5 The Beach.
Ravens Wrap is brought to you by Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.